I'm always very cautious when I'm driving near college campuses, especially private college campuses. Because how could you be good at driving when you're not even good at avoiding crippling debt? I'm eating string cheese right now. So I wanted to listen to some music, and I pulled up the Spotify New Music Friday playlist just because I was curious. And then I stumbled upon a song by Tiffany Day. And I recognize this name because she's one of the openers for the Aries concert. She's not the opener for mine because there's like 5 different ones in different locations, but she's an opener for some of Aries' shows during his tour. And if you don't know who Aries is, you will probably become very acquainted with him throughout this channel's history. So I listened to the song because I was curious, and I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of some good shit. I quite enjoyed it. I'll play a little teaser. I don't know how much I'll be able to play without a copyright strike. I kind of like this new wave of pop music that's starting to show up. I don't really like when people say that they don't like pop music, or like that pop music is just bad, because for one thing, all that pop music is just pop music literally stands for popular music. So you're basically saying that you don't like any music if it's popular. And while that might be a decent heuristic, like a decent metric, like most songs that are popular are they're popular for a reason. They're popular because they're pandering, right? But that doesn't apply for everything. You can't say that about every pop song. You're making a hasty generalization. And people make hasty generalizations about all sorts of things. I mean, in my opinion, that's kind of why racism is a thing, because a white guy sees a black guy do one bad thing or whatever, and he assumes, because he doesn't know anything about black people, that black people suck. That's kind of my hot take. I think a lot of the world's problems are caused by people making assumptions way too quickly about things. Anyway, Tiffany Day is pretty fucking good, and I wish she was opening at the show that I'm going to, but now it's possible that the dude opening at the show that me and Matt Prada are going to, possible that dude's really good too. I actually haven't listened to him yet. I might listen to some Net Spend, because Aaron, also known as Matt Prada, hates Net Spend, so then I could message him and tell him how much I love Net Spend. I also think that people should make an effort to always be trying new kinds of music. I feel like music is one of the biggest examples of people getting set in their ways. It's very easy as a human being to get set in your ways in a lot of things, but because you fall into the same cycles of comfort and predictability, and predictability can be very nice, but it can also be very, when done long term, it can lead to an unfulfilling life. And in order to maximize my life experience, I like to try as many new things as possible. Maybe not as many new things as possible, but I like to try new things, and that definitely applies to music. But definitely, it's also a really good idea to, like, once you find something that you really like I guess you should you should take advantage of that for a while. Like, once you find a song that you really like, you should listen to it for a while. Like, maybe a balance. The bathroom in the Chipotle where I was getting my food was locked. Ergo, I need to pee, and I'm not going to eat my Chipotle while having the pee. I'm not even going to enjoy the Chipotle. Ergo, I pee in a bottle. I'm kind of in the mood to listen to an audiobook, and I've always wanted to read The Chronicles of Narnia. I'm not listening to that. The audiobook is only about 2 hours or so long, so I've been listening for about an hour. I'm about halfway through, and it is rather delightful, I must say. The audiobook experience of it I quite liked, because it uses these elegant, calming, graceful strokes of a harp to create a serene world. The story is very surreal, dreamlike, like almost to make you question whether it's a story that even happened, or if it's a memoir of a dream that someone had. The same harp that's used to create a calming, serene... I'm talking more about the audiobook than about the book itself, because the audiobook's actually so cool. I just looked it up on YouTube. And the same harp that creates the calming, dreamlike effect is also used in times of eerie distress to create a frantic strumming that is not incredibly melodic and not very harmonic either. Kind of almost monotone. It definitely changes in notes, but it creates kind of a feeling of horror a little bit. This book, at least when read as an audiobook and with me paying full attention to it, is sort of at times slightly scary, the way that it's immersive. I liked it. I really liked it. And the book itself shares many of the same qualities as the audiobook experience. I mean, it's all one thing, of course. Oh, I turned the light off. My bad. Forgot why I had that on. But it's essentially, if you haven't read the story, it's these 4 kids who live in this professor's house, and they're living with the professor because they needed to get away from the war. I don't know what war it's discussing. I'm guessing it's one of the world wars, although I can't be sure. And I believe the youngest of the 4, Lucy, finds this wardrobe. And it all happens so fast. It's pretty much within the first 5 minutes of the book, of the audiobook, that she finds this wardrobe, and she realizes that the wardrobe goes so far back, and it keeps going and going, and she ruffles through the coats, and the coats start to feel like trees, and the floorboards start to feel like snow, and she finds herself in some different world. And she meets this faun, this seemingly, I believe it was like a person with goat legs and horns, named Mr. Tumnus, I believe his name was. And he was, and this is kind of spoilers, honestly, because I'm halfway into the book. he's all friendly to her, but then it turns out he was set out to kidnap her on orders of the queen, or what he calls I believe he calls the White Witch. And so from the very beginning of the story, it's hard to know what's real and what's not. It sets the precedent of kind of just not knowing what's real. But it definitely does, I will say it definitely does seem that Mr. Tumnus and all of the creatures of the wood who stand against the White Witch, does seem that they are the good guys. And so Lucy comes back. Mr. Tumnus starts sobbing uncontrollably, feeling all guilty about the fact that he's about to kidnap this human. And he shows her the way back to where she was. And then Lucy goes to tell her siblings about what happened, and none of them believe her. But then during a game of hide and seek, Edmund, her older brother, finds his way into the closet himself, chasing after Lucy. And then so he discovers this Narnia place, but then he meets the White Witch. And when he meets the White Witch, that's when the harp goes sour. And that's very interesting. I very much like this book so far. I believe it is supposed to be a children's book, but it does not feel like a children's book.